There's going to be no comments on this one. However, if you do want to ask a question about this, you can just throw it in any other comment section on any other video. It's like 11,000 videos out there. I'm sure you can find one. This is going to be talking about the idea of a 7-note scale system and a 12-note scale system. The whole point while we're doing this is because we want to know how to name chords. One of the cool things we've been doing is we can see that when we have an empty staff, it could be anything. When we put a bar and we close this off, we have just turned our staff into a measure. And by putting a treble clef, we have turned this into the G clef, which means all the notes that come from this line are going to be a G of some sort of capacity. Now the notes that we would have in this key, because there are no sharps and flats, would be the key of C. Just for the purpose of showing what a key signature is, let's just see this as having C as having no sharps and flats. So when we say C major, we say C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. When we go from C and we count 5 notes over, we are utilizing the idea of the circle of fifths, C, D, E, F, G, at which G gains 1 sharp. That sharp is the F sharp. Now the reason why I'm showing this is because I want everybody to be able to write that F sharp on the top line of the treble clef, because G, A, B, C, D, E, F. The top line of the treble clef is the F. That is our first sharp. So when we go to the key of G, G has 1 sharp. And when we write sharps and flats, if it's a sharp on a line, we want to put the sharp so the little box that's in between, the parallelogram, has the line going through it. If we want a space, then we put that little box or the parallelogram in between so it's not touching any of these lines. When we have the key of G, we have 1 sharp. Well, when we take that same key signature and we keep the F, but we add the second space from the top, G, A, B, C, we get the key signature for the key of D major. Why? There are no sharps in the key of C. There is 1 sharp in the key of G. That sharp is F sharp. And when we go to the key of D, which is also 5 notes away, we retain the sharp that was F sharp, and then we add on the C sharp. This happens for the whole circle fifths. Now, I'm not going to go into the circle fifths. We've done the circle fifths together. If not, and you're new to this, check out the channel. There are a lot of videos. When we play this key, we are talking about the key of D major. If I were to continue my circle of fifths, I would be going 7 minor seconds away and going in fifths. So when I utilize this key signature and I go through the process of seeing D has 3 majors. It has a major 1, major 4, and a major 5. It has 3 minors, which is the minor 2, has the minor 6, and then the minor 3, and then our diminished, which is also minor, but it's going to rely on being the 7th scale degree. The circle of fifths lays out for you what your notes are and how to find them for a scale. So if we were in the key of C, we would have C major, F major, G major, D minor, A minor, E minor, and B diminished. 1, 4, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7. But in the key of D, we've got D, E, F, G, A, and B. When we write in our sharps, the sharp we retained from G major and the sharp we added for D major that are on the clef, we then can assign note and value. D is the space right below the E on the bottom line of the treble clef. If we count down from one of our sharps, we have C, B, A, G, F, E, D. Our next note would be on the bottom line, which is our E. After that, we have an F. In particular, this F space, even though there's not an accidental, like a sharp or a flat or a natural, it is still an F sharp because that's the key signature. F sharp is in the key signature. Even though we haven't quite written this, anytime you have notation and there is no time signature, We are in the time signature of 4/4, meaning there are 4 beats per measure and the quarter note gets the beat. So we must divide these measures so we have quarter notes that fit. D, E, F sharp, G. This is what we call a tetrachord, a scale that is 8 notes all the way to the P8, an octave, is divided, giving us 4 tones and 4 tones. The next tone is an A, then we have a B, and a C, and then a D. Notice that the lines and the spaces ascend, and these are going in order of tone. Again, we fill in our note heads because we have quarter notes. Anything that is below the B line has a stem going up. The B line has the option of going up or down, so the middle line could either go up or down, doesn't matter. In fact, you might sometimes see a note having that, meaning that you're having 2 lines using the same note. And then as soon as you go above the middle line of the treble clef, all of the stems go down. Now the reason why this is super important is we don't have notes that have a stem going up on the left side. That just looks like a flat or a B, so that's a no bueno. We have it on the right side. We don't have stems that are on the left side. We don't have steps that go down that are on the right side because that looks like a 9 or a Q, so we don't do that either. We do, however, put them on the left because what we're essentially seeing is the note itself is twisting and retaining where that stem goes. So, when we write out a scale like this, this exhibits that we know what the key of D is, and we could say, well, what is the 4 chord in the key of D, and do some analyzation. D major, E minor, F sharp minor, and then G major. If we go to here and say 4 chord is G major, and we look at G major through the eyes of D, we can see that the spelling of G major is in here. We must remember that if we had a C sharp, that would be a raised tone. We don't want a C sharp in the key of G. So what happens in music is we read the notes on the staff and then we make correlations to the other keys. Some of them are similar, like family chords. In this key, we have G and A, which share all the same notes, majors and minors. In the key of B minor, it shares all the notes that D major does. And then the notes that we use, like E minor, our B minor, F sharp minor, those all correlate to the key of D. So they're very similar. Meaning, if you were to play like the key of E flat, the key of E flat is so diametrically opposed to this circle that it wouldn't sound right playing it with the key unless you fit it in musically. So today what I'd like to tell you is this is a great way to start seeing notes. If you play any instrument or you sing, I would suggest writing this. If you could do this in the key of D, then you can also do this in the key of F. F has 1 flat, that flat is B flat. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Split it into 4, throw in our notes. Oops, that was a little bit over, my bad. And then putting our stems down, 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 down. This is how I would do the key of F. Any person who plays music would be able to look at this and go, oh, this is the key of F. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. If you have any questions about this, again, can't put questions there, but bring them to the table next week when we review. And then if you do have questions on this, you could go to any comment section on any video and put something in there to get a hold. Aloha.